Press. Whoa, Rusty got through it.
Here we go.
Harvick slides up in front of traffic.
Cars upside down, cars everywhere.
And turn 4 is calamity corner once again. The field is frozen. Jeff Gordon came across with Stewart and Johnson side by side, but there are half a dozen cars littered between turn 3 and the start finish right there.
Looked like Biffle in the 16 actually came down into Scott Riggs in the 10. And Darrell, when you're flipping like that, it probably seems like eternity, don't it?
If you watched the NASCAR Busch Series in the early 2000s, it was apparent that Scott Wimmer was a can't-miss talent. But in this video, you will see that in some cases, a team has a huge role in creating a bust rather than just the driver himself. Let's get into it.
In row 6 through 10, we found all the young guys. Ricky Hendrick, 20 years old. Jimmy Johnson, 25. There's Scott Wimmer, he's 24. And Jason Jarrett, 25. Jimmy Spencer will start at the rear for missing the drivers' meeting.
Back at the Miami 300 and under caution for the second time in the race for a crash down in turn 1 involving Scott Wimmer driving the Bill Davis Racing Pontiac.
Some heavy left side damage to the car. Take a look and see if we can see exactly what might have happened down in turn 1. He was behind the white car. Is that Bobby Hamilton? This 26 car that he was behind, and I don't know if they made contact, but all of a sudden the car just snapped around and plowed in the outside retaining wall.
Really did snap quickly too. Buckshot Jones was right behind him. Couldn't tell from those angles if there was any contact there either that started that spin.
Scott Wimmer signed with Bill Davis Racing in 2000 after becoming a very well-known driver in the Midwest, moving up through the ranks. He would make 3 Busch Series starts with the team. This wreck would be his only highlight that season in the series, but his next one would shock the NASCAR world.
Yeah, and we're looking at some guys back in the pack here that, you know, want to do good. They have a statement to make. Scott Wimmer came here to run in the ARCA race. Great story. He didn't get in because that qualifying was rained out, and they had to start on points. He had no points, so they said, we'll bring the car over to Winston Cup, and he made the field for the Napa 500.
Well, we've got a pretty interesting situation right now. Remember we told you, Ned told you, as we did the starting lineup, about Scott Wimmer, who came here to run the ARCA race to get some experience so that he could run the NASCAR Busch Series next year for Bill Davis Racing. He has no experience on big racetracks. Well, guess what? ARCA qualifying was rained out, so he could not start the race. He moved his car over to the NASCAR Winston Cup garage. He made the race, and guess who's leading the race right now?
How about that?
Scott Wimmer came here to run the ARCA race, and 57 laps into it is leading the Napa 500.
Well, that's something really good to go on his resume. Scott Wimmer's been leading under caution. Now he gets his first opportunity to lead under green flag conditions.
Oh, what a thrill that must be to have the best in all the best in stock racing behind you.
I was telling you. Here he comes. He looks like he's going to make it, going to lead the lap under the green.
Leads a competitive lap. How about that? Steve Park, though, is right on the rear spoiler.
Now, this is, don't believe me, NASCAR officials are watching this closely. They want to view these guys in this kind of a situation to see how they handle themselves. And this determines whether or not he'll be able to run the Busch Series race in Daytona in February.
Scott Wimmer is from Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, he is the nephew of Larry Degens, who is one of the top short track drivers in Wisconsin for many, many years. But Steve Park tries to get to the inside of him.
And Earnhardt goes by Martin Martin on the outside. Moves into that third position. And here comes the 46 of Todd Bodine going by the 25 of Nadeau. Todd has a good run going here in the first 63 laps of this race. Oh, here we go.
After ARCA qualifying rained out, Bill Davis pretty much just said screw it and let Wimmer qualify for the Winston Cup Series at Atlanta in the fall. And he would make the field. Not only that, he would go on to lead 9 laps in the race. Now that is something you will never see in the history of NASCAR ever again. Wimmer would race full-time in the Busch Series in 2001. He would be teamed up with crew chief Robert Barker, aka Booty Barker. So his 2001 stats look like this: 0 wins, 2 top 5s, 8 top 10s, an average finish of 16.9, and an 11th place points finish. He would finish second in the Rookie of the Year standings to Greg Biffle. The 2002 season would be an interesting one. With no full-time sponsorship, Bill Davis was tempting to shut the entire team down, but he couldn't do it because the team was doing so well. Wimmer would get his first career Busch Series win at Dover in an unsponsored Pontiac. He would go on to win 4 out of the last 8 races. His 2002 stats look like this: 4 wins, 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s, an average finish of 12.2, and a 3rd place points finish. But after the season, Booty Barker would leave to become a crew chief in the Cup Series for Dave Blaney. This is when Scott Wimmer's entire career began to regress. Yes, he would score a win at Pikes Peak and would also finish 9th in the point standings in 2003, but also around this time, Bill Davis Racing as a whole was starting to regress. They were unable to field competitive cars anymore after 2003.
Scott Wimmer now down to just 0.8 of a second his lead. Matt?
We've talked a lot about gambling. Frank Stoddard, 2 tires. Very gutsy call.
Well, I mean, it was a pretty easy call. You know, we were at the back of that line right there. You know, we're just here to get a top 10 finish. I'd like to win the Daytona 500. I wasn't going to win the Daytona 500. The team wasn't going to win it. Caterpillar wasn't going to win it by putting on 4 because, you know, even if we had a great pit stop, chances are that we weren't going to beat both of them out. That was our chance to try to win it. They got a heck of a draft on us. We're probably going to be in a little bit of trouble, but it's been a heck of a showing all day. Scott's done a great job. The team's done a great job, and you know, heck, you never know. Maybe we'll hold them off.
Okay, go on back up.
BP, we talked about it earlier. 3 cars is faster than 1.
Oh, yeah. And Scott Wimmer was by himself. These 3 cars hooked up. And now, can he stay in front? Frank said maybe we can stay in front of him. He has shown some speed, but with 2 tires, I doubt it.
I don't think so either, Benny. Maybe he'll stay a little while, but
he was bobbing and weaving for all he could, trying to put the block on Tony Stewart.
Eventually, he'll be sliding up the racetrack. He'll leave that bottom open, and those guys will drive underneath him.
So pretty much Wimmer was stepping into a horrible situation when he moved up to the Cup Series in 2004. Scott Wimmer would lead in the Daytona 500 for a bit, and he would even finish 3rd. But that would be his only Cup Series highlight. The next 2 seasons were absolute hell, as you'll see.
They had reported he was getting tighter and tighter, turning less and less. I think I mentioned the fact that when he got in that traffic, that's when he really started losing some ground, as we see Wimmer, guy 4th in points, a 22 car, looks like he has lost an engine. Caution is out.
First yellow of the day. It comes at lap 39.
Trouble front straightaway. Wimmer and Mayfield get together. Hard contact. Everyone else will get through. The caution waves again.
Anybody get a lap back there, Larry? Well, I think Jamie McMurray in the 42 car may get the part possibly back on the lead lap. We'll have to find out from NASCAR.
But no one was ahead of race leader Jeff Gordon, I don't think, at the moment.
Over here to us. Guys, let's see what it looks like there.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick in the 29 was close, but far better. I think he spent the first 100 laps trying to figure out how to race people here.
Smoke. I think we see smoke out of the 18.
Scott Wimmer got in it in the 22 car.
Must be some oil over there.
Caution is out.
Oh,
Sterling Marlin's in it, the 40 car.
Oh, that's a shame.
And a tough break for Wimmer, who had a strong day going here. He was a lead lap car.
Sterling did too. He led there for a little while, and Sterling is one of his best racetracks. I hate that for him.
5th yellow flag of the day.
Not sure what's up with the 18. He's still going. Bad break for Wimmer.
Way back, but we lost the radiator.
And that will be about the fourth or fifth engine failure that we've seen so far here at lap 120.
Scott really struggled in practice earlier. He was only 50 quickest, but he's picked it up not a lot, though, about 2.5 tenths, 30.03.
But he got out of the end right there, Larry. Car went up the racetrack, and he had to roll slam out of the throttle to keep it out of the wall.
So Wimmer is second fastest to Brendan Gaughan right now. And here's Matt. A long list of folks that will head home tonight.
And you ease them out as the race goes on.
Jeff Green and Bobby Labonte.
Scott Wimmer in a 22
You can
car
close your
play.
eyes and know that Bobby Labonte was going to be in it.
Bobby Labonte was ill to start the day. Add ill-tempered.
25 car got into. He's coming to pit road. There's the 18.
We anticipate, you know, they'll try to fix this car and get it back out there. You see Brian Vickers in the 25 car, but Bobby Labonte, 6 races this year, 4 DNFs, engines and wrecks.
Big wrecks.
That's a shame, Scott Wimmer. I talked to that group this morning, the 22 car. They felt like they had the makings of one of the better cars they've had this year, and there you see everybody's nose crunched in. Be going to the garage area for repairs, I'm sure.
Oh, in trouble. Here we go. Harvick is around. In the grass. Caution is out.
That's Carl Edwards up against the outside wall.
Yep. They almost make contact again.
Sadler down through the grass.
Oh, more cars spinning down in turn 1.
Yeah, Wimmer.
There's Wimmer. Number of guys went down pit road.
Yeah, you're not going any place.
Caution is out on lap 147.
Wow. So when you combine both seasons, you get this: 0 wins, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, an average finish of 25.9, and 14 DNFs. My goodness. So who's to blame here? Well, to me it's pretty simple. 50% goes to Scott Wimmer and 50% goes to Bill Davis. Why? Bill Davis supplied shitty cars, Scott Wimmer wrecked those shitty cars. Plain and simple. So that'll do it for this episode of NASCAR Busts. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.